Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode 3 of your San Francisco Giants franchise mode. It's the year 0, start of year 1 off season. We just finished the year and finished not how you would want this Giants team to play with a 65-97 record. We knew it wasn't going to be a great year, but that is certainly below expectations for this franchise and this ball club. So we're looking to right that ship here. And after reviewing what we have on our current payroll, where the contracts align, and just where we are in our division, we're really eyeing that 2025 year. So next year to be the year we make a push for a wild card spot. We think the team will have grown enough then and shown enough to put us in a position to go after one of those playoff spots, and then that would open up a window for 2026, 2027, 2028 to grab a World Series in there with how some of these contracts stack up, some of our development in our players, and where we see the future of this team. So not saying we're punting on 2024, or in this case, it's 2025, in terms of the statistics and players and things like that. But, year one, we can call it. We're not punting on it, but we're not expecting to make the playoffs. We definitely want to be around that 500 mark. If we're around there, we think we're in a really good spot to enter the postseason come 2025. So with all of that, we went ahead and offered the arbitration numbers just to hold on to these guys while we're simulating through some of this stuff. To have that locked in, and we looked over the free agent pool, and we really went back and forth on, who do we want to sign? We need to sign a big name guy to really help draw some interest from other free agents in the future to show that we are willing to spend. We want to be competitive, but who's the best fit for that? What position is the best fit for that? And while we really liked Juan Soto in San Francisco, generational talent, just realistically don't think he will sign with us. It's just not a fit for him and his lifestyle and what he's looking for. But we did talk to a few pitchers, all 3 California guys in Burns, Fried, and Bieber. All 3 want to play in the Sunshine State. But there's only one that really clicked with us, and it is Corbin Burns. We think he's meant to be a San Francisco Giant. We think pairing him with Logan Webb at the top of the rotation does wonders for us as a franchise, and this shows everybody else that we're willing to spend, and we want to go out there and get some big fish to help build around this roster. So we're going to go with a 6-year deal, $35 million a year for $210 million. It's the max we're allowed to give. And we think this contract sits well with him and his age and where it stacks up across the board. So we're going to offer Corbin Burns 6 years, $210 million. The other place of interest where we wanted to address was our bullpen. We needed some help, especially from the lefty side. We liked the witch of Matt Moore. We know he's 34, but he's coming off a pretty good year. Not too far in the age range for a bullpender, and again, just a lefty guy to help platoon back there for us. So we give him a 1-year deal, and we also like the witch of Scott Barlow. We think his stuff plays well. We think he would be a good fit here in San Francisco. We're actually offering him a 2-year deal, and we're going to throw him in the bullpen for us at $3.5 per. We think that's a fair offer, and we also are going to go after Jorge Lopez. As you remember, this is the guy who got cut from the Mets, said the team stunk. He turned his year around, went to Chicago, and pitched pretty well there. They want to bring him back, but we're going to take him away. Again, another guy on a 2-year deal. We're going to make sure he's in the bullpen, and we're going to give him a little bit more since the year that he had. We believe in him, and his arm talent can play here in San Francisco and help our bullpen out. So those are the 3 bullpen arms. We really don't need much else, like I said, especially in infield. We like our catchers. Our first basemen are okay. There's really no one out here that we'd love to bring on and sign long term there. And then second base, third base, shortstop, we either have guys or we want to play our younger guys there to help continue to develop them. So it really came down to outfield. We also have young guys that we want to play here. And we talked to a few of these players. Really, there was only one guy that fit for what we were looking for and what we need right now, and that's Anthony Santander. This guy is a good power hitting first player. He has decent outfield capability. Can also play first base if needed, which was of interest to us. As we know, that's a position that we're either looking to upgrade or move on from with our current roster players. This guy's a lock for 30 homers, 80 RBIs. He's a switch hitter, only 29. We think he'll fit in nicely here in San Francisco. We're willing to give him a 4-year deal at $21.5 million. We think this is a good fit for us and what we're trying to build here. And we're also going to front load this contract since it's on the cheaper side, pay most of it off now. So that way, a couple of years from now, we can sign a couple other players by saving some of that money in the future. So that kind of takes care of free agency and a lot of the guys we wanted to go after. As you kind of see the board here and where we stack up, not the best in any real spot. We're really trying to build through the middle of the field, and we think signing Corbin Burnes will definitely help with that. Some of the bullpen pieces. So that's kind of it for right now. We'll get to the 40-man roster in a little bit, but we just want to sim through a little bit here and see who we sign. So we've reached the maximum roster size. Okay, any offers will be withdrawn. So that means we signed at least a few people here. Looks like the Twins got Danny Jansen. That's from earlier. Okay, so go from trades. Excuse me. All transactions. Want to go to the Giants. So we grabbed Santander, Matt Moore, Scott Barlow, Jorge Lopez. So we got all of those guys. The other one was Corbin Burnes, and we need to cut somebody to make that happen. So stick around here. Looks like the Rangers came in with an offer. Okay, we're going to have to remove some players. Who's the ARB guy, Nottingham, who we know we're not bringing back? Let's just go ahead and release Jacob Nottingham. Sorry, Jacob, but you know Corbin Burnes. Rangers are offering 9 years. We'll see where our offer stacks up. We're still ahead in his interest level. I think him playing in California really helps out with that. We'll keep a close eye on this, see where some of the other guys are going. Max Fried still doesn't have much interest. Bieber going back to the Guards and Soto to the Yankees is what looks probable out of those players. So keep an eye on Corbin Burnes here. And I believe that's going to be the 40-man roster. So let me go through this real quickly, and I'll get back to you. Power of video editing. All right, we are back. The 40-man roster has been taken care of. A lot of the tendered contracts have been taken care of as well, just re-signing a lot of the organizational depth players. But did bring this up as well. May as well sign these guys. And what we decided to do with Patrick Bailey was to give him an 8-year deal. We really believe in Patrick Bailey. We think his offense will become serviceable. But the defensive metrics there at the catching position we really value, especially with the pitching staff we're looking to grow here. And we think that what he's asking is something we can't refuse to let go right here. So we are going to lock in Patrick Bailey for the next 8 years. Like we said, if somewhere down the line, if we think that he is no longer serviceable to us, if we feel like we can upgrade, we think his defensive prowess and that ability will still be able to fetch an offer that we can move on from this contract. Not saying it's going to be a bad contract by any means, but we still want some offense out of him. So we are going to lock up Patrick Bailey here, or at least present him with the offer of 8x8. So 8 years, $64 million total. We think he's worth this. He's 24 years old. It would take him to his 32-year-old season. So we're going to go ahead and offer Patrick Bailey a long-term deal. Kyle Harrison, we're going to go the league minimum. Hope he turns that season around and continues to grow. Same thing with Heliot Ramos. We think he had a pretty down year. We want to see what he's capable of. He's only 24, so we're going to save money on those guys. Blake Sable, we think is going to earn a major league roster spot, which will be a conversation later of how we're going to handle that catching position. But we think he's worth that. Casey Schmidt as well, we think is going to be a solid depth infielder for us this year. So we're going to give him an offer, and Luis Matos as well. Going to lock him into a 1-year league minimum contract. Hayden Birdsong, same way. We're going to go league minimum for him. We think he's going to push for a roster spot. Tristan Beck was here last year, pitched pretty well. We're going to give him a league minimum salary and we'll give him depth. We'll see where he ends up in the end of it. Luciano, again, this is a guy who we could go long-term with like we did with Patrick Bailey and get him on a pretty good contract. He's only 22 years old, plays a really good defensive shortstop, and we expect that to continue to grow. But we want to see the offense come around before we go long-term with him. So we're going to give him a 1-year deal. We're going to say he's an everyday player, and because he's going to be our everyday shortstop. So that kind of takes care of everything here. Ryan Walker didn't have the best year out of the bullpen, so we'll give him until he's happy. 1 year, $600K for some depth, and everyone else is pretty much taken care of, so we don't have to worry about that as we continue simulating here and see where Corbin Burnes ends up signing. So no, we took care of the 40-man. We'll touch back in here on the free agency and see where our offer sits. So no one else is interested in Soto. Corbin Burnes still likes ours the best. Fried. Looks like Bieber signed. Didn't give me a notification. It's weird. See if anybody else of note off the top looks to have signed. We can take a look here at some of the top transactions. So free agency, we signed Santander. Bieber probably went back to the Guardians. I'm assuming that's why. Yeah, we'll check in on that at the end. Yep. Bieber right there on the screen, 6-year, $201 million back to the Guardians. Makes sense. He's their ace. They want to bring him back. Nico Horner traded to the Marlins for Bryce Miller and Dylan Moore. So the Marlins bring in a bat, a really good defensive bat as well. Hit close to 300 with 20 bombs. Nico Horner is under contract for 2 more years going to Seattle. They move one of their big pitchers there, and Bryce Miller going to the Cubs. So that's a big trade. Like that, honestly, for both teams. Now, of course, we have too many players in our org because everybody signed, and I bet you they took away that offer on Corbin. No, it's still there. Okay. And we're still the top guys. So we need to release some guys. Let me go through this again and get back to you. All right, so we're back. We cleaned up the roster. Last day to offer ARB. We've already done that. We'll continue through. Still waiting on the big fish of Corbin Burnes' side. You can see that Altuve went back to Houston and Patrick Bailey took his 8x8, so that's big for us in setting up this roster for the future. Still waiting on Corbin Burnes to sign. We're still the most interested, or he's the most interested in us so far. Take it to December. Still waiting. Juan Soto yet to sign. Seattle making an offer on him. That would turn the tables a little bit there for Seattle, bringing in someone like Juan Soto. Keep simming here. Still nothing. A lot of our minor. Oops, that's the Orioles. So a lot of those guys got let go. We didn't care about Kyle Harrison. Okay, a couple of these guys re-signing their league minimum deals. A lot of the minor league guys. Okay, so nothing really changing there. Still just waiting on Corbin Burns. Okay, Christian Walker goes to Milwaukee. They already have Rhys Hoskins there, so one of them will probably DH, probably Hoskins. Pete Alonso signs with the Rays. That's an interesting one. Yeah, they don't really need first base help, but a good power bat. Profar goes back to San Diego after winning the World Series MVP. Teoscar goes back to LA as he was vocal about going back to. We'll see if there's anything else here. Nope, still no updates across the board. Twins making a pitch to Soto. Okay, so the Angels are in on him now. We're still the top offer. It does make things interesting if we want to play around with this now. If we were to give him a player option at the end of it. I don't know if I love that, but we can't really change anything else. It's either the player option or we go 7 years with him. And so 7 years takes him to, what would that be, 36. I don't love that for a starting pitcher, but if this is what it takes to get Corbin Burns, I don't want to lose him. He's our guy. Competing with another California team. We'll actually go to the draft lottery since we were one of the worst teams this year. 13% chance at that first overall pick. We'll see what this gets us. Come on, game. And we drop a spot down to 5th overall. Okay, good to know. The Nats and Pirates move up. Athletics drop. Angels move up. Red Sox jump up 9 spots. Wow. That's a big move for them. So, okay. We're drafting 5th overall in this year. Good to know for our scouting. Walker Buehler goes to the Red Sox. So after moving up big time in the lottery, they get Walker Buehler. Really good contract on him there. We'll see how he plays out there in Boston. And this is going to be the Rule 5 draft. So still no news on a lot of these big names. We'll get into the Rule 5 draft here and see if we can't add anybody. Decent reliever went there. Okay, so across the board, I mean, we do have the roster space to get a guy with some potential, like an Aiden Miller here, but he's so far away, and having him to be on the 40-man on that major league roster for a full year hurts his growth, I feel like, overall anyways. It would do a disservice to what we're trying to put together here. Joe Barlow's a decent reliever. But, yeah, there's really no one jumping out to me. Jamie Barria, up and down career there. Pennington, okay, there's really no one that I think we should add to our team that really helps us this year or even in the future. There's no one really standing out in terms of overall or potential or just, what we're looking to add, a position of need. Let's go through this quickly. No. Okay. So there's no one here. First year, kind of expect that. We're just going to skip our selection, see if anybody else gets taken here. A couple of guys coming off the board. I wouldn't expect us to lose anybody. We didn't really have anybody that needed to be added to the 40-man. We more or less took a few guys off that didn't need to be there and just got released. So Juan Soto signs with the Seattle Mariners for 8 years, $30.9 million. Wow, okay. So that changes the landscape here in this universe. Makes it a weird franchise, even weirder than it already has been. Max Fried goes to the Yankees. So they swap out Soto for Fried, building up that pitching rotation there. He signs a 9-year deal with New York. Evaldi goes to Toronto. It's a good pickup for them, trying to stay competitive. We'll take a look at the rosters and everything with some of these big signings at the end of it all. So Corbin Burns is the last big fish out here. I don't know if there's really anything else we can do to win him over. Seattle's in on him too. Imagine if they get Corbin Burns and Juan Soto in this. I might flip a table. Yeah. We're at the mercy of the game right now. Sandy Alcantara traded to the St. Louis Cardinals for Mason Wynn and Won-Bin Cho. Wow, that is a blockbuster deal if I've ever seen one. So St. Louis gets some much-needed star-studded pitching, a true ace, but they give up their future stud shortstop in Mason Wynn. That's an interesting trade for both teams. I don't know if I like any one of them. There it is. Okay, this is what we've all been waiting on. Corbin Burns signs with the Giants. Took his time, wanted to be wine and dined by all the teams. He knew he was coming to San Francisco, was able to leverage an extra year out of the contract with us. But in our opinion, it's worth it. We need someone like Corbin Burns' caliber on this roster. And what that does for our team really helps solidify that starting pitching. Now we have Burns, Webb, Ray, Harrison, Hicks, Birdsong can kind of pitch in there as well. So that does it for our big moves that we wanted to make. So let's just see what this roster looks like. So we run those 5 for sure. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 for sure with the relieving core. 11 with Duvall, Bailey, Murphy, Sable. You know, you could have 3 catchers. I've also talked about trading Tom Murphy away, trying to get some prospects. I feel like that's something we still need to do. Flores, Wade, Estrada, Chapman, Schmidt, Luciano. And we have a plethora of outfielders now. And I forget if I mentioned this when we were going after Santander. We like his position versatility, but we're really eyeing him as a DH this year. We have good defensive outfielders, and there's really no one else on this team who profiles as a DH. So, and there wasn't really much in free agency either to pick up a DH. So now it comes down to, do we add an additional starting pitching / bullpen help? Or do we look to go trade for that? And based on what's available now, I think the trade market might be our best avenue. So let's see what's available out here in terms of maybe a depth starter or reliever. See if we can bring in really nothing much out here. Okay, let's see if a team wants a catcher, backup catcher. You know, Tom Murphy, you've had a fine year last year. You're a good veteran presence, but it's time for us to move on from you with Bailey being locked in and Sable coming up. So the Red Sox look like they could use a catcher, and they could. They have Connor Wong. Okay, make this work. See if there's any reliever in here that would help us out. Scott Alexander, another lefty, former Giant. Any prospects? Really not much in terms of reliever help. Starting depth. You know, there's some guys they haven't signed that wouldn't be bad. What did Whitlock do for them last year? Yeah, he pitched well. They probably don't want to get rid of him. Let's keep looking. The Yankees have some catchers. They probably want it. Need another depth guy. The Rays are a team that's also similar to what they had in Boston. Kevin Kelly, a good strong righty, a couple years of control. Probably less likely to move him. Luke Jackson, another former Giant. Do we bring him back? You know, he's got good makeup overall as a depth reliever. Doesn't really push us over the top. Kevin Kelly. Okay, let's keep looking quickly. Any team out there that really could use it. Didn't Tom Murphy? Oh, Seattle. Thought he played for Detroit there for a minute. So they have Rogers. They have Liam Hicks. Do they believe he's ready? He did play a lot last year. Maybe they're looking to upgrade their backup catcher and give him a year to develop. They do have a ton of bullpen. Foley and Lang, Holton, Wentz. They did trade some of it away, though. So probably not the best fit there. Twins have too many catchers, and they're still looking to add. Cartini, I mean, he's serviceable as a backup. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Tice. Rangers could use a backup. I mean, they have Kinzer. Maybe they believe in somebody else. Let's see what their bullpen shapes up to be. Really looking for a righty. Like, Leclerc is just so expensive at $12 million for what we're looking to add here. Going to the NL, the Marlins, why would they want a veteran catcher? Same thing with the Nationals. Reds, maybe. Maybe the Reds. Got Clay Holmes in here. Probably just signed him. That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Nando Cruz had a rough year. Zach Jackson's their best reliever. Wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for a backup catcher. Still looking at the Red Sox as kind of the best fit there. Not sure. Okay, so it is the Red Sox. Probably going to look to add a prospect here. I wouldn't mind an infield prospect per se. Not looking to ask for too much here. I mean, he's a backup catcher on a one-year deal. Matthew Lugo, Blaze Jordan. Just somebody we can plug in there that might turn into something, might not. Here we go. Manuel Valdez. This guy grew decently. You know, could be a versatile player. They're interested in it. Makes sense for both teams. Let's pull the trigger on it. Boom. All right, that clears up that. And then we wanted to add some reliever help, but there wasn't much available. And I don't love Luke Weaver. He's really the only guy out there, excuse me, that's left. The only other option would be to kick, what's his face at the pen, but no. We're just going to run with this team and what we have and assess it come the start of it. So let's take care of some of these contracts. So Camilo Duvall. This is another guy like Patrick Bailey who we talked about going long-term with. A 5-year deal does fit the window. That would lock in our closer too. I do like it. Let's see if we can save a little bit of money on him here. I do like a 5-year deal on Duvall. And then everybody else can kind of get a 1-year, 2-year deal. Theo Estrada, don't mind giving him a 2-year deal. That would run him past his ARB. Be a free agent at the end of it, so we can either look to move on from him or extend him. Yaz, you're going to get a 1-year deal. So you're dropping off. We'll give you 6.5 because you've been here, done that. Wade, you'll get a 1-year deal. I'll give you what you're looking for there. And Tyler Rogers, again, a 1-year deal. Not going too long-term with any of these guys. You're in the bullpen. You're fine. And that'll kind of take care of that. I think that's kind of like our season. No, Blake Snell to the Twins. They lose out on Burns, but they pick up Snell. Everybody's kind of being signed here. Last day to renew contracts. Let's stop. I think there was one guy. Yep. Can you win? Well, a little too much. Okay. So that takes care of it for the offseason. See if there's anybody we need to sign for minor league depth. Maybe a shortstop in there. Pretty decent in the outfield. Yeah, maybe 2 shortstops would help and a couple of catchers. Okay. So let's go grab a couple of guys to fill up that minor league depth here. Not looking for anything crazy. Just some cheap deals for some guys who can play. Who might have decent stats and help out the minors. Make the playoffs. You want a little too much. Ben Boom, what a name. There we go. Okay, there's 4 catchers, I think. We said we needed a shortstop. I think these guys are going to want a little bit too much. Just looking for some guy to plug in there. Yep, there we go. Grab Ryan Fitzgerald, too, if he'll take it. He will. Okay, we'll go back. See who the top guys are here still. Goldschmidt, Seth Brown. No, we don't need him. Alex Call. Don't need him. Jason Hayward, veteran. Marcelo Dubon. I mean, a good platoon, versatile player, but definitely falling off there. Ross Stripling. Josh Rojas. That's an interesting one. What does he want? Let's go grab Josh Rojas for a 1-year deal. I like that. Some platoon action for him. Okay. I think that does it. Here we are, spring training. I don't know if we're gonna we'll take a look at the contract extensions again. I don't really think there's anybody big names that we need to extend. We kind of did that this year. A lot of the young guys, we kind of want to see what they develop into. Maybe around the trade deadline, we'll extend them in that window. But we're really looking at that free agency class coming up. Like Kyle Tucker would be a great addition here in San Francisco. Vladdy at first, the position that we're looking to upgrade on. Again, some additional starting pitching. Luis Arias, a strong contact guy. Yandy Diaz, another first baseman. Bo Bichette at short or second base, maybe if we can convince him. Some guys in here who are going to be helpful for us, and of course some bullpen help there as well. So where we stack up, we're trying to build through that middle of the field with Bailey, the pitching, center field. Some of that shortstop is on its way. So let's get in here. Let's play a game. Let's see what this team's all about. Let's see if we can play a decent team here. Let's play Cleveland. Let's kind of see what Cleveland's about. We'll play some of the younger guys, and we'll just kind of go through here. Maybe we'll play a critical situation or two. But let's close this out with a quick sim, and I'll bring you to some of the action highlights coming up. Perfect. Luis Matos, warning track power. It'll come. Luciano, hoping the bat takes a big step forward this year. So we get, and looks like a base hit up the middle. Hope for a lot of that here this year. I think if he can hit around 260, 270 even, would be a great sign of future success for him. Have around a 320 OBP. With his stellar glove and continuing to grow in that way would really be a benefit to us as a franchise. Pinch hitting Yaz late in the game, seeing if we can get a little bit of a rally. Did he do it? Mike Yastrzemski ties the game. Pinch hit home run off Emmanuel Clase. You love to see it. No doubter off the foul pole. What an at-bat. So that's the way it went, folks. It went to extras. Giants got the win. We just ended up simulating that through. Got to see the pinch hit home run by Yaz. It's a couple knocks there by some of the younger guys that we're looking to develop. And we're just going to end the video there. That's going to be the end for this off season. We'll get to the start of the next season, sim through the rest of the spring training, get the lineups all set to go for next video, and we'll see you then.